David, Matthew, Angela, and then staff, Coralie, Tyler, Pat, and then of course Jeff is the head honcho.
I like your sweater. Crushed velvet, is it? Is that what they call that?
Not velvet.
I used to have a crushed velvet
It's
sweater.
lace.
I like it. It's very festive.
Thank you. I would ask us all now to pause to seek guidance. Okay. The next is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions?
I guess technically, I don't know if it's a deletion, but the presentation,
Yeah.
they have deferred until sometime in the new year. They're not ready. They canceled after the agenda was already put together. So no presenter.
Okay, that's a nice deletion. Is there any others? Would someone like to approve the amended agenda, please?
I'll move as the agenda is amended.
And is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next are the minutes of November the 9th. Is there any errors or omissions?
Motion to approve the minutes of November 9th, 2021.
And is there a seconder?
Second.
George? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Is there any unfinished business anyone would like to bring up for the minutes of November the 9th? All right, then we will go on with the CAO report. Meeting dates and reminders. There is no meetings on December 21st and 28th. January the 4th, the only thing we're doing on that date is meeting with Chris Donchermont at 3:30. Our Council of Committee of the Whole will be on January the 11th. TIR, Public Works and Bylaw will be at 5 and 6, and Council on the 25th at 5. Now, the next were the CAO updates. And the only thing I wanted to mention, and I assumed it was a typo. Oh yes, here it was. It was with tree trimming. That 9 shouldn't have been there, right? It should have been just under the tree trimming. Funny, because I had to stop and think about it for a minute, and it sounds stupid. You wouldn't think it would be that hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just on that one, so the internet, we've had a few calls lately with both Mainland and Bell trying to get a grasp of what's happening with their schedules. They had provided an update to Develop Nova Scotia, and I think Develop Nova Scotia had circulated that. It was a very generic update, just pushing some projects out a little further into 2023. Still no breakdown as how they're going to approach all of these phase 3 projects in our areas. So we're trying to get some clarification from them on the order that they are going to approach. Because we've got projects that literally go from one end of the district to the other, right? Some order on that. There's been a few challenges with Nova Scotia Power. We've also had some phone calls with them. In this joint process, there's so much work happening across the province on this file where they're all shared or mostly shared ownership power poles. There's been a lot more work and coordination there than was, I think, initially understood. So that has slowed a few projects down. Nova Scotia Power is working on ways to address that, and Bell and Mainland are both aware now of where those slowdowns happen. So when they're planning projects, they're better aware of where that happens. So we're hoping to get a bit better information from both companies over the next little while on their schedules. Bell is also hoping to get us some more accurate mapping than we currently have on some of those projects. So I guess stay tuned, but we're optimistic at this point for a bit more quality information in January, February.
Okay, thank you. I didn't see anything else myself. Did anyone else have any comments or questions of the CAO? Hearing nothing, we will continue. The departmental reports. And I have one, and it's actually to do with Rob's report. He was saying there was 2 new doors being put on. I assume that's already gone through the Heritage Committee. That's all like he said, 2 new doors were put on, and they went through our grant program.
Property.
Yes. Was that something through you guys?
I can't remember.
I don't remember it, but I would think it would have. We talked about a guy in Weymouth, Fort Point Road, about a door, but I don't know.
Oh, it says Weymouth North.
Well, it must be the one,
Yeah.
Weymouth North. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we did talk about, they were having trouble getting somebody to, or find somebody to.
Yeah, maybe custom made, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only reason I asked, I assumed it had gone through by the committee, and I just was being nosy. And that was the only one I had. Did anyone else have any? And then, if not, the only other one I saw was the Renewable Energy and Climate Change Coordinator Terry's, when he said he had people down post his conference. And was it pre and post or just post? I'm not sure now from the other day when I read it. But then it says something else about, yes, okay. He talked, back up I think a little bit. Best practices. I think it's going to be, he just talked about this group, and then I thought there was the group with employees, are they thinking about coming to Digby is what my question was actually on it.
Talking about the Nova
So yeah, so
Innovation
it's
project.
at the very top of Terry's report.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So yeah, before the conference, ORPC was down.
Right.
That's the company that has the turbine that looks like an old-fashioned lawnmower.
Oh, okay, yes.
They've been in Maine for, I think they've got a few different sites in the U.S., so they were down before the conference. And then SME is one of the companies that's already down.
That's the Grand Passage. Wow.
And they've got some new Canadian employees, or there's some changeover, I think, with their management team.
They hired locals too, someone from the island.
Okay, I was
Yep.
trying, because I wasn't sure, so I was being nosy, because, so then this the ORPC group was not the same with this Nova.
No,
Okay.
a lot of different players in the
Okay.
area, and back to kind of a number of companies exploring still. But yes, we have a number of smaller companies exploring the area.
Okay, that was, they all do great reports, but it was just me being, okay, I gotta ask. George?
Down further, he mentioned there was no activity or anything going with the Conway Betterment. Is that kind of gone stale in holding pattern for a while, or nothing?
So certainly with Terry's involvement, so Terry wasn't on the board there, right? Terry was being offered Terry services as I don't know, consultant spare, but as an advisor for any renewable energy. They have not had a lot to do with him on that. I don't think we have anybody in the room that sits on that board. I do believe, from what I understand, the community has been quiet of late with that group.
Haven't heard anything from any activity.
I haven't.
Okay.
Is there any other questions on any of the other departmental reports? None, hearing none, we will move on. There is nothing under dangerous and unsightly, so our next one is the business items financial update, and that is Coralie.
All right, so you guys would have seen in the package, I did do up a report outlining the variances. I'm not going to read that in its entirety, but I will point out a few things as we go along. So we are currently 58% into our fiscal year. We were able to collect 95% of the revenue, which is typical for this time of the year. We've done both our tax billings, and there's a few more things that we would be billing in the next few months. Our report is actually showing 58% of our projected expenses have been paid as well. But in saying that, we do have quite a few things that we have to pay up front for the year, so we would actually be less than that. So we're not spending quite as much as what we should be, I guess, at this time. And you'll see, I guess, as I go through why. And of course, we always have this new theme, COVID-19, and our related expenses.
I've never heard of that.
You've never heard? Well, I feel like it is a consistent theme throughout this report, and I have not said this before, other years, or, you know. And of course, this year when we started, we did have, I think, a little bit better grasp of what we were facing as we would have maybe the year before. But in saying that, we still haven't, with the travel and those type of things, we haven't caught up at this point. So basically what I had did when I put this report together was I tried to focus on anything that had a 25% variance or more, just to make it more significant, and anything that would have had a budget of $5,000 or more. So that we're not talking about some of these little ones that are $200 and the budget was $100. So in our revenues, one of the biggest, or we have two big ones this year that are over budget. Our deed transfer tax, we did recognize when we budgeted that we were in a bit of a boom there. So we did budget $275,000 this year, which was up $175 from last year. Of course, you all know that the market has continued to boom. We have seen a decline in the last couple months. We have already collected $289,000 so far this year, so we've surpassed the budget, and we do have a few more months to go. So we do know that we're going to have a surplus with the deed transfer tax this year. Another big one is our municipal financial capacity grant that used to be our equalization grant. So after we did our budget, we did find out that they were going to do a top-up payment for us in the exact amount of what we normally get per year. So that is $333,000. So that is money that we did not budget for over and above. So we are showing a bit of a surplus, or quite a large surplus there. We do have our first 2 quarters in for that grant already. Those are the 2 main significant revenue ones. The rest of them are pretty bang on. For expenses, of course, back to the COVID-19 thing, we do have a few. I'll just kind of skip through them quick. Of course, the travel expenses, our council travel, there's been no conferences or limited conferences. We have our other employee benefits. We're under budget there by 33%. We couldn't do our Christmas party, of course, and some other things that we would normally do due to the virus. Our festival and events account is down $16,000 under budget. I think at the beginning of the year we had hoped that some of these festivals would actually be functioning this summer when they did not, or fall. More COVID-19, our subdivisions are down. Jeff had mentioned that we do talk about subdivisions quite a bit, but with the volumes trending with this COVID-19, it has been definitely less, and it was less last year and I think the year before. So we're seeing that happening. Municipal marketing, again, we're 39% to date due to COVID-19 again. We haven't had to pull the float. We haven't been advertising in the Nova Scotia Visitors Guide, that type of thing. And then we have some other training accounts, the energy coordinator training and travel, down to 36% under budget, because he's not, actually he did get to go to one conference, so that is kind of changing a little bit there, but we probably won't catch up. Other than that, so we have a few other significant ones that are not COVID-19 related, which is kind of nice to say. Although I think our strategic plan probably may have a little bit to do with that. We are over budget 69% on that one. Our consultant's rate has increased significantly since 2016, and we do have fewer municipalities that participated when we did, so the travel cost, we had to split that. And I'm guessing likely the fewer municipalities did sort of relate back to COVID-19, and some people did some virtual sessions and that type of thing. Our building department vehicle, we're 29% over budget there. Our truck is getting a little older and gas prices are rising, so we can see a bit of a increase there. Our waste water collection and lift stations. So our maintenance accounts in this category, they're all down, and we've kind of held off on those ones in case there was some big repairs that had to happen due to breakdowns. And there hasn't been too much, so there'll be some preventative maintenance happening in the next few months. Rural internet, you can see that there's been no money spent. That will all come in as one big bill, probably closer to the end, or they're a little slow, I think, with their billing, so we'll see that at some point. Another big one, wind turbine operational costs, is looking like it's significantly under budget. This one, there's a big contract for the maintenance on the turbine, and Terry, or as you can see Terry, our energy coordinator is working on, I guess, changing that contract so that we don't have such a large amount of money to pay when we're not really utilizing the maintenance. So that will probably be not so distant future. That account will catch up a bit because we haven't been billed at all this year. Other than that, I think you can all see that we're doing quite well with the finances, and we are looking at a bit larger surplus again this year. Last year, you probably all remember, I think it was probably in February when Jeff and I had came with a bunch of, a list of accounts that were COVID-19 related or affected. And we did talk about doing a potential transfer, and we did do that last year, and we will be looking at doing the same thing with you guys again once we get closer to the final numbers. We definitely know we've got this extra money with the Municipal Financial Capacity Grant. $333,000 that we weren't expecting right there, so it could be a pretty significant transfer. So stay tuned. We'll bring that back likely sometime in February. Does anybody have any questions?
Just nice upbeat.
From my report or anything you might have seen, I did do the detail line by line. I included that in the package as well, so it doesn't have to be a 25% variance if you had a question.
I just wanted to say that it was a good report. I appreciated it.
Yeah, I like these little
Updates on the
updates. Yeah, I do. I like those. Feel like you're being kept in the loop, you know? Yeah.
Just kind of know what caused it or what's caused it or what's nice.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Okay. Thank you, Coralie. The next is the reduction of the property taxes due to fire damage, and that is at the PIN number. I'm just trying to see it if I can. So I don't. Oh, there it is. ANN number 07021941. So usually we do not say the names, do we? I thought it's just.
No, we normally do the PIN number.
Yeah.
The AAN number.
Motion that we do a tax reduction on number 0702, property number 07021941.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is St. Mary's Bay Academy for a funding request. What I noted was they didn't give it an amount. Do you have any idea? I mean, I read the letter. I think it's good. They say if they get enough money, they'll even do Weymouth.
Yeah, I didn't know if Councillor Manzer knew anything.
No, I just got the letter. It was in my mail last week when we had, I've heard, I know the clothing thing's been going on for about a year where the kids can go in and get boots or coats or whatever free of charge at recess, noon hour, or whatever, So that's been going on for probably over a year. And this is, as far as I know, this is something new, this Christmas.
I mean, I like the idea of doing snack bags, but I know St. Mary's Bay Academy is in Clare, but it serves.
It serves a lot of Digby,
in
a lot of
our
Digby
end.
County, or, you know, the
But
Weymouth area.
what really twigged me was for the Weymouth Consolidated. You're talking about all the little children.
Yeah.
They need that too.
Well, you know, it'd be nice to have for some of them, if you can do all of them, is great.
I do a special for the food bank thing. There's a few families I do special kid snacks, so that you'd have stuff for recess and stuff like that. I do that for.
So I would imagine the more they get, the more packets they would get.
Well, that's what I mean. I like the idea of.
It's almost like maybe is it this? Too bad we couldn't take it out of the kids
So
budget.
if we decide it, can that come out of that school money, or is this different again? That's what
That's what I was
I
wondering.
would
Yeah.
suggest this is on the grants to organizations
Okay,
side. I
that's
think that
fine.
policy is pretty specific. The only thing I would add here, and perhaps Councillor Tudor can help clarify, so I know the Digby High School does have a free store as well.
Oh.
I just wanted to share that as
There's funding for these things that comes from a variety. Most of it comes from Schools Plus, but there's also a healthy eating grant for around $5,000 that's available. There's several grants available for this sort of thing within the schools. There's also SAC money. They give around $5,000 to $10,000 a year now.
I just meant in case council wanted to pass something to do for all three high
Well,
schools, was why I was sharing.
Oh, duh. Yeah, you know what? I always think people for snacks.
Then we
and
can send Dave down, he can get him $5,000, they'll be love it.
So I guess my question is, would it just be for the high schools, or they don't do free schools to little
They have them
kids?
for all primary to 12 has free.
Yeah, but that's in your high
That's in
school.
yours. I'm not aware of when the Consolidated or Digby Elementary. I definitely know in the high schools.
I would suggest, if we have enough money in the budget, that we give each school like $300.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
But again, I don't know if there's enough in the budget.
Yep.
You would write the check immediately because they're gone in a week, if that's possible.
Yes, David, we will.
Oh, this is
If-
going to
Yeah.
be leaving soon. That's all.
And just the only thing whenever whoever puts the motion on the floor, just to clarify,
For all three schools.
if it's the three. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I move that $300 be. Oh wait, it's
No,
yours now.
I was just wondering if I can call this lady tonight or tomorrow and let her know the money's coming, because school's gonna be finished probably next week, so, you know,
Yeah.
so they could spend it ahead of time and then be able to pay for it.
That's, if it's passed.
Yeah. As soon as we have the motion, I can answer that question for you.
Good. Motion, Dave, you're gonna make.
I move that $300 be made available for 3 separate schools in Digby County for
High schools.
High schools, the 3 high schools in Digby County for snack bags to take home.
The only thing, St. Mary's Bay is in Clare, so could we say St. Mary's Bay and the other 2 high schools?
Yeah,
I mean,
so as
municipality.
amended, I guess.
Well, no, I'm asking you,
Yes.
to just change.
Yes, I change
Okay, it's just,
it. Of course.
you know. Now, but is there a
$300
second
name.
or George?
Second.
Somehow
I have a feeling they're going to give me that $300.
All in favor? Or
Aye.
sure, is there any further? Contrary minded, motion
They
carried.
always make me do those sorts of things.
Now, aren't you proud of us, David?
Yes, I am pleased. I thought you guys had something against feeding the poor.
So yes, you certainly can share that with your schools. We will get those funds and the checks out right away. But the 2 of you can share that with the.
So, David, you'll let your school know?
Yeah, I'll let them know.
George, you'll let your school know?
Yeah.
And we'll get in touch
And-
with them. We'll get in touch with them.
Okay, great.
There's been a lot of need lately too. It's really increased.
What I would like now to do is the correspondence and information. Statistics Canada, thank you.
You're welcome. Statistics.
Okay. Heritage designated lighthouses.
You know what's crazy about that? 12, 13 years ago, I wrote 3 things to the heritage people. 3, 12, 15 page documents of the history of the lighthouses. I hadn't heard anything since. 12, 13 years later, I got an email. That's how long it took. And the only 2 people that were notified were me and Rob. And I just kind of have to laugh, and I think those little "do you know," I'm pretty sure I wrote those. They're clipped out. It is just so crazy that it took that many years. It took about 13 years from filling out those things to this.
So this is, Tyler, jump in here. This is one of the final steps before.
It is. So obviously we're hoping to own all three of these lighthouses shortly. So I think there's only one step left. So I'm hoping sometime in the next few months they will be conveyed to us, and then obviously the groups down there can start work hopefully next summer.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, Society of Friends of Pharaohs, their thank you letter, thanking us, which was very nice of them. Municipal Affairs Code of Conduct, and they keep telling us they know we've been waiting patiently.
So I'm not sure, again, I think you guys receive communications from NSFM sometimes that I don't. So there has been a committee formed. I don't think the letter had the committee members named, but I think NSFM has someone on it, AMA in the province. So the committee's formed, work will start. So sometime in the spring we should start hearing more about this.
And
Is this the Rob Ford policy? Remember everybody started talking about this stuff right around then?
who knows?
I think it is.
The next is Nova Scotia Power, and they are talking about the
How they don't want to have they throw up obstacles for high-speed internet? Is that what they're looking about?
No.
That goes without being said.
Trees being cut down, you must notice they don't have very many power outages.
It's just with hydrogen.
Geez, there's been some difference since those other guys cleared those trees out. Instead of power outages will constantly be almost never recently. Last year or so.
We had, that big windstorm last week. So.
Okay. If there's no other business, I would like us to move to go in camera.
Oh, we're done? Already?
No, we're not done. We're going to go in camera for contractual and personnel.
Yep.
So could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Contrary minded?